This is 702 ABC Sydney
with Hamish Macdonald.
I could sort of put down tiredness and vagueness to just being too busy.
She also wishes she had known more about the risk factors for dementia.
If I'd have been told to check my brain half as often as I've been told to check my breasts, I could be in a very different situation.
That is 63-year-old Jane there. You might have caught her story on AM this morning. She's recently been diagnosed with early onset dementia, or younger onset dementia as it's now called. She feels that things could have been quite different if she'd known more about the early signs and the things that she could do to slow progression. Dementia expert leading authority, Professor Henry Brodaty, is here in the studio this morning. He's going to talk to you about caring for your brain as you age and how to spot the early signs of dementia. Do you think much about your brain as you age? How do you keep it healthy? What do you do to prevent something like dementia? Professor Henry Brodaty co-founded the Centre for Healthy Brain Ageing, which is at the University of New South Wales. He's also the Senior Australian of the Year. He's involved in a free community event at the Grand Hyatt Ballroom in the city next week, next Wednesday, in fact, and he's here to invite you along. But he's also happy to take your questions and calls this morning. Professor Henry Brodaty, good morning.
Good morning, Hamish.
And I should declare up front, I'm an ambassador for Dementia Australia. I've dealt with you in the past, and also you looked after my dad when he was diagnosed. So there is a personal interest there that I need to get out of the way. But what are the risk factors? What are the things people might think about if this is a sort of niggling worry at the back of their mind?
Yeah. That 45% of the risk of dementia is caused by environmental factors that we can modify, we can do something about. But the things we know about are physical activity, keeping our brain active, getting a good education really helps set up this thing called cognitive reserve, like a buffer against dementia. Looking after our social health as well, so people who are more socially connected have less dementia. And our blood pressure. So it's important to get it checked, and if it's high, get it treated or manage it yourself by doing more exercise. A healthy diet, basically on the Mediterranean diet, is associated with a lower risk of dementia. People who have hearing loss who wear hearing aids reduce their risk. Hearing loss is associated with dementia, as is diabetes and high cholesterol. People who already have dementia doing a lot of these things can slow down the rate of decline. So what we can do by doing all the things I've been talking about is delay the onset. And for every year we can delay the onset, it reduces the chance of getting dementia by 10%. So ideally we'd like to delay the onset till after we die, because we all build up some pathology in our brain as we get older. We build up these toxic proteins, or the blood supply isn't as good. But many of us can have a buffer against that. I use the term cognitive reserve. So by having, good healthy brains that have been very active, set up rich neural networks, that provides a buffer against that pathology that builds up. That's called cognitive resilience. So by building up our cognitive resilience, we can delay the onset. No one's yet proven definitively we can prevent dementia, but we do know we can delay its onset. My father was 52 when he developed dementia.
And you were essentially in a different career.
I was in a different career, and I was mainly looking at, I'm a psychiatrist, but now I specialise in old age psychiatry. I was particularly looking at depression. We set up a mood disorders unit, which then became the Black Dog Institute. But I gradually moved into the area of dementia clinically, doing research, setting up Alzheimer's Australia, now Dementia Australia. And it's been a fantastic move for me personally. And thinking back, it's obviously to do with how I was working through my own grief about my father's death at 59.
Greg's here from Blacktown. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Hamish. Good morning, Dr. Henry. Great work and great conversation. I've been involved in intergenerational programs for a number of years, and I'd like your comment on this. From what I understand, purposeful and personally meaningful, mentally stimulating interactions with children and teenagers can help delay the onset of dementia and or diminish its severity. What are your thoughts?
I love this question because I'm involved in a study looking at this, led by Ruth Peters. from the George Institute. And you may have seen Old People's Home for 4-year-olds. It was a series on ABC TV a few years ago, and then they had a second one with Old People's Home for teenagers. And you could see the people with dementia coming alive in the homes with the kids, and the kids got a lot out of it as well. So that's a big movement now to try and get more intergenerational connections. And one of the criticisms of nursing home is we silo older people away from the general community. We need to integrate them. They're very good at this in the Netherlands. They've done wonderful jobs doing this, and in some of the other Western European countries. And we should be doing more of that.
Greg, have you had experience with someone in your life with dementia? Where are you coming at this from?
My mum passed away January last year from dementia and other illnesses. But I would go there and sit with my laptop and play a whole range of songs and music. And my mum, while she perhaps couldn't have a conversation with me, once I started playing those songs, she would sing the lyrics. So music has been foundational in that aspect. It's so simple to do. And I've found that in the intergenerational programs, when we do music and movement, the older people have a great time. So I think we could do more with school students and early childhood in this space. And furthermore, the aged care workforce, we can't rely on immigration. We've got a huge potential with school students to get into this space. And once they do interact with older people in a positive way, they go to visit them in their own time.
Yeah.
So we have a solution for the aged care workforce, but intergenerational programs need to become more normalised in education and healthcare. That's my opinion.
We need to sign you up. That's terrific.
Greg, thank you very much for your call this morning.
Thank you.
And you might actually be interested, Greg, in our next caller, Cole, who's here from Clovelly, who I know well and we've spoken to on this program before. Good morning, Cole. How are you?
Good morning, Hamish and Professor. Yeah, I'm not bad. As you know, I'm not great.
How's Shirley, your beautiful wife?
Yeah, not too good. She doesn't know who Cole is anymore. So, but I'm in that latter stage now the Professor was talking about, and there's not a lot left in that sense. But I'm still going and still trying my hardest to do everything. It was just usually that last caller. At the moment I'm setting up a liaison with I won't say what school it is, and you know probably a school and where Shirley is in care now, and it'll be a high school. And I want to get the boys to come down and do all that we're talking about. I did it many years ago with another retirement village, and it worked brilliantly. So, and I think for dementia, that's the sort of thing. You know, Shirley is really thinking on music and dancing. We've done TV shows and all that, but that's the thing I want to encourage is the music, especially the music. We still do dementia choir twice a week. She still knows some of the words. I still dance with her every week, not as quickly as I used to, but yeah, that's what it is. So,
Is it you slowing down a bit as well, Cole?
am I slowing down?
Yeah.
No, Hamish, I'm not.
I mean, Henry, you'd be familiar with Cole and Shirley's story and
Yes.
The way Shirley has still really, seeing them dance together
Yes.
is something quite extraordinary
Yes.
because it's like the old Shirley is just there in those moments. What is going on? Help us understand how that can happen.
There are parts of the brain which are more resistant to decay. Long-term memory, we all know about that. So often watching movies from when they were younger can be a way of engaging them. But music is more resistant to decline. And Cole's hit on a very good strategy that we often use, engaging people in music, not just listening to it, but singing and participating. The choir's terrific. We did a study once with dance therapy in nursing homes. You go to a nursing home, everyone's sitting around the edges of the room, really not interacting. We got them listening to music, swaying to music, standing up, holding hands. And after 2 weeks, they were dancing with each other and they changed. So you can do things and you can build on the strengths a person has. Dementia doesn't wipe out the brain. It gradually erodes parts of the brain, but other parts are working really well. And our challenge is to find those bits that are still working well. It could be music, could be dance, could be art. It could be enjoying something that they did before as well.
Cole, I know it was a real wrench for you to make the decision to put Shirley into care, but it was the stage that that she was at, and it was really very much needed. Can you talk to listeners about that? Because, obviously there is a perception that, no one wants to do that, and there's good reason for that, but sometimes it is necessary, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I knocked it back the first time I got offered. I remember my heart just sunk, and I thought, I can't do this, yeah. And then 3 months later, I just thought, I've got to do this. Shirley was escaping from home, and I've had the police and all that sort of thing, and I was just on tenterhooks the whole time. And it got to the point where talking to others, and I have a daughter who's a GP. She's saying, Dad, you've got to do it for your sake. And it's true. I've got to keep myself well enough for Shirley. And that's why I'm not slowing down, Hamish. So it's keeping active and active. And I just what Professor was saying about like the dancing. When we went in, they still have happy hour every Friday. I'll be there this afternoon, and everybody just sat around listening to music. And then all of a sudden I thought, no, I'm going to get up and dance to this too. So now the staff come around and get others up on their walkers. Doesn't matter, and just dance with them. Yeah, and you see the smile on their faces. Yeah, that makes it for me, and I can see it's working. Sort of thing.
Well, Cole, say good day to Shirley this afternoon when you see her.
I will. I'll see you in a month at the next Hold the Moment.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cole.
Yes, good morning, Hamish, and good morning, Professor Henry. Yes, I'd just like to explore further the Professor's reference to dementia loss of hearing relating to dementia. How does it affect the brain? I'd like to understand that, please.
That's a great question, and I don't think the mechanism is clear. One mechanism that's thought to be operating is social isolation. We know that being socially isolated, not being connected, not having someone to confide in, is as big a risk factor as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So people who are hearing impaired can often withdraw socially. But that may not be the only mechanism. We should just put all this in context. When I say the risk is increased, doesn't mean everybody who has hearing loss is going to get dementia. So if their chance of getting dementia is, let's say, 20%, then their risk may be increased another 5 or 10% of 20%. So 10% of 20% is only 2, so it goes up from 20% to 22%. So people shouldn't panic because if they've got diabetes, they're going to get dementia, or if they've got high blood pressure, they'll get dementia. Risk is increased, but doesn't mean they'll definitely get it.
Henry, thank you very much. And you're enjoying being Senior Australian of the Year?
I am. It's been a wonderful opportunity to promote healthy brain promotion itself and also better care for people with dementia.
They are keeping you pretty busy, though.
Yeah, extremely busy. And if you want to see our research, go to Centre for Healthy Brain Ageing, UNSW.
Professor Henry Brodaty, the Senior Australian of the Year.